Welcome back to the Gold IRA Blueprint podcast. Today we're diving deep into gold
Okay.
as a strategic part of, your retirement portfolio.
Yeah. Yeah.
With all the market volatility and
Yeah.
all the uncertainty in the world these days.
Yeah.
It's no wonder that folks are looking for ways to safeguard their savings,
Right.
their hard-earned savings. And gold, with its long history as a safe haven asset,
Mm.
it's really catching the eye of a lot of folks,
Yeah.
including some of the people who manage the fortunes of some of the wealthiest families,
That's right.
some of the big family offices out there.
What's interesting is we're not just talking about individual investors, right?
Yeah.
We're seeing family offices who are responsible for preserving wealth across generations,
Mm,
making significant allocations to gold.
right.
And these are folks that really play the long game. Yeah. And their strategies often provide valuable insights for the rest of us.
Yeah, that's right. And they're not just, throwing darts at a board.
Okay.
There's a method to their madness.
Yeah.
This approach, what they're calling
Right.
geopolitical gold allocation,
Mm-hmm.
is all about recognizing, the unique risks and opportunities in the current global landscape.
Yeah.
Thinking beyond, those traditional investments and considering assets that have historically held their value during turbulent times,
Exactly.
like gold.
It's about acknowledging that the world is becoming increasingly unpredictable.
Yeah.
I mean, think trade wars, political instability,
Yeah.
even whispers of potential currency devaluations.
Right.
I mean, in these types of environments, gold tends to shine, right?
Yeah.
It's not tied to any specific government or economy,
Mm-hmm.
so it acts as a sort of insurance policy
Yeah.
when things get rocky.
We've seen this play out
Yeah.
time and time again throughout history.
Absolutely.
I mean, during periods of economic downturn,
Yeah.
political upheaval, gold has often held its value.
Yep.
Or even appreciated, while other assets have taken a nosedive.
Yeah.
It's like that old saying, maybe not exactly,
Yeah.
but when the going gets tough, the tough turn to gold.
Yeah, you got it.
Maybe not exactly how it goes.
Right.
You get the idea.
It's that intrinsic value that makes gold so appealing,
Yeah.
especially when traditional investments start to look shaky.
If any of you listening are intrigued by this, by the potential of gold,
Yeah.
particularly as you plan for retirement,
Mm-hmm.
we've got a great resource for you.
Right.
Head over to goldirablueprint.com/exclusive
Yeah,
for a free checklist
that's right.
packed with tips
Yeah,
to help you choose the right gold IRA company.
absolutely.
It's a must-have especially for American retirees
Yeah.
looking to navigate this space.
Because not all gold IRA companies are created equal.
Yeah, that's true.
It's crucial to do your due diligence and find a provider that you can trust. This checklist can really help you with that process.
Absolutely. So let's dig a little deeper into this whole family office strategy.
Okay.
What's driving their interest in gold beyond just the safe haven aspect?
Yeah.
That we know they're all about wealth preservation and leaving a legacy for future generations.
Right, and that's where gold really fits into their long-term vision, right?
Yeah.
They understand that the value of a dollar today might be significantly different in 20 or 30 years.
Right.
Inflation can really erode your purchasing power over time.
Yeah.
Gold, on the other hand, has a history of retaining its value over centuries.
Right.
It's like a transgenerational store of wealth.
So it's not just about, protecting their wealth from market fluctuations,
Mm-hmm.
but also from the potential erosion due to inflation or other economic factors
Right,
over the long term.
right.
It's like a hedge against the unknown,
Mm-hmm.
a way to ensure their wealth endures
Yeah.
for generations to come.
Precisely.
Right.
And it's not just about holding on to wealth, it's about transferring it smoothly to future generations. That's where a gold IRA can be particularly beneficial
Right.
because of the way it's structured. It allows for the tax advantage growth of your assets and can make the process of passing that wealth down to your heirs much smoother.
Okay, so we've talked about gold as a safe haven,
Right.
as a hedge against inflation,
Yeah.
and as a tool for wealth transfer.
Mm-hmm.
But let's get down to brass tacks.
Okay.
What about its performance compared to other investments?
Yeah.
Is it really a good investment from a purely financial standpoint?
Right.
I mean, we all want to see those retirement funds grow.
Absolutely. And the data actually paints a compelling picture.
Yeah.
You provided a comparison table that showcases gold's performance alongside traditional asset classes like stocks, bonds, and real estate.
Right.
And What's striking is how gold tends to zig when the market zags.
Yeah.
It's what we call an inverse correlation.
Yeah.
When the stock market takes a hit, for example, gold often goes up in value.
Oh, okay.
This makes it a powerful tool for balancing out your portfolio and reducing risk.
Okay.
It's like having a shock absorber for your investments during turbulent times.
So if I'm understanding this correctly, you're not suggesting putting all your eggs in the gold basket.
No.
It's more about strategically adding it to your portfolio as a way to enhance stability
Right.
and long-term growth potential.
You got it.
Okay.
Think of it as a ballast for your portfolio.
Yeah.
A way to potentially offset losses in other asset classes during those inevitable market downturns.
Right.
Now, the suggested allocation for precious metals in a well-balanced portfolio typically falls somewhere around 5–10%.
Okay.
But of course, it always depends on your individual risk tolerance and investment goals.
That makes a lot of sense. And speaking of risk tolerance, everyone has a different comfort level when it comes to investing.
Right.
Some are more risk averse, while others are willing to take on more volatility in pursuit of higher returns.
Right.
So where do gold fit on that risk spectrum?
That's a great question. And it's important to be realistic about the risks and rewards of any investment.
Yeah.
Gold isn't some magical get-rich-quick scheme.
Right.
It's a long-term investment, best suited for those who prioritize stability and wealth preservation.
Okay.
Now, while the price of gold can fluctuate, it tends to be less volatile than stocks.
Right.
And over the long haul, it has a proven track record of preserving purchasing power.
Yeah.
Which is especially valuable in times of high inflation.
So it's not about timing the market
No.
or trying to catch those short-term swings.
Right.
It's about adding a strategic asset to your portfolio that can potentially weather those economic storms and help you achieve your long-term financial goals.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's why we're seeing this growing interest in gold.
Yeah.
Not just among the ultra-wealthy,
Right.
but also among everyday investors
Yeah.
who are looking for ways to protect their hard-earned savings and build a secure financial future
Yeah.
for themselves and their families.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
you know, it's interesting. We often think of gold as like this ancient relic,
Yeah.
something from a bygone era.
Right.
But in reality, it plays a vital role in our modern world beyond its investment appeal.
Yeah.
Gold has incredible practical applications.
Oh, absolutely. We tend to picture gold as jewelry or bars in a vault,
Right.
but it's so much more than that.
Yeah.
It's a highly versatile metal with unique properties that make it essential in a wide range of industries.
Exactly. It's a key component in electronics.
Yeah.
Think smartphones and computers.
Right.
It's used in dentistry for fillings and crowns.
Yeah.
It's even used in aerospace and medicine.
Oh, wow.
Its conductivity, resistance to corrosion, and biocompatibility make it incredibly valuable.
So it's not just a shiny object.
No.
It has real-world utility,
Right.
which further supports its value
Yeah.
and makes it such a strategic asset to hold.
Exactly. And unlike paper currencies, which can be printed at will,
Right.
gold is a finite resource. There's only so much of it in the world,
Right.
which adds to its appeal as a store of value.
That scarcity factor definitely plays a role in its perceived value. You know, speaking of value, I want to circle back to something we touched on earlier.
Okay.
The concept of gold as a hedge against inflation.
Yeah.
We've seen some pretty significant inflation in recent years.
Right.
And a lot of people are concerned about how it might affect their savings.
Right.
You know, rightfully so.
Inflation is a silent wealth killer.
Yeah.
It erodes the purchasing power of your money over time. And unfortunately, traditional investments like stocks and bonds don't always keep pace with inflation.
Right.
But gold historically has often risen in value during periods of high inflation,
Okay.
acting as a sort of buffer against the rising cost of goods and services.
So it's a way to potentially preserve your purchasing power,
Exactly.
ensuring that your money retains its value even as prices go up.
Yeah.
It's like having a built-in safety net against that inflationary pressure.
That's a great way to put it. And it's one of the reasons why many investors see gold as an essential part of their portfolio, especially during times of economic uncertainty.
Now, I know some of our listeners might be thinking, okay, this all sounds great, but how do I actually get started with a gold IRA?
Yeah.
What are the first steps?
That's a great question. And it's important to do your research and choose a reputable provider.
Okay.
As we mentioned earlier, not all gold IRA companies are created equal.
Right.
You want to make sure you're working with a company that has a proven track record,
Yeah.
offers transparent pricing, and provides excellent customer service.
And that's where our free checklist comes in handy, right?
Absolutely. The checklist at goldirablueprint.com/exclusive
Right.
provides a step-by-step guide to help you evaluate different Gold IRA companies
All right.
and choose the one that's right for you. It's
Yeah.
especially helpful for American retirees looking to navigate
Yeah.
the specific regulations and options available to them.
It really takes the guesswork out of finding a reputable provider
Yeah.
and setting up your gold IRA.
Yeah.
Now let's address the elephant in the room. Risk.
Okay.
Every investment carries some level of risk.
Right.
So what about gold? What are the risks involved?
That's an important question. And like any investment, gold isn't without its risks.
Right.
The price of gold can fluctuate, and there's no guarantee that it will always go up in value.
Right.
It's not a get-rich-quick scheme.
Yeah.
It's a long-term investment.
So it's not about timing the market or trying to catch those short-term swings.
Exactly. Gold is best suited for those who are looking for stability and wealth preservation rather than short-term gains.
That makes sense.
Huh.
And it's important to remember that diversification is key.
All right.
Even with gold in your portfolio, you shouldn't put all your eggs in one basket.
Absolutely. A well-balanced portfolio includes a mix of assets,
Right.
each with its own risk and reward profile.
Yeah.
Gold is just one piece of that puzzle.
You know, when we talk about gold,
Yeah.
we often focus on the financial aspects, the numbers, the charts, the potential returns.
Right.
But there's also an emotional element to gold that's hard to ignore.
It's true. Gold has a certain mystique,
Yeah.
a historical significance that other investments simply don't have.
Right.
It's been a symbol of wealth and power for centuries,
Yeah.
used as currency, a store of value, and a form of adornment.
Yeah.
There's an emotional connection to gold that's hard to explain.
It represents something more than just a financial asset. It's tangible.
Right.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And it has a story to tell.
Exactly. And for many people, that emotional connection adds to gold's appeal as an investment.
Right.
It's not just about numbers on a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
It's about holding a piece of history in your hand.
It's a fascinating aspect of gold that often gets overlooked
Yeah.
in the purely financial discussions.
Right.
It's like owning a tangible piece of security and stability,
Mm.
something that has stood the test of time.
And in today's world, where so much feels uncertain and intangible,
Right.
that sense of security can be incredibly valuable.
Speaking of security,
Yeah.
we've talked a lot about the reasons why family offices are turning to gold,
Right.
but what are some of the specific strategies they're using? How are they actually incorporating gold into their portfolios?
Well, one common strategy is to hold physical gold bullion,
Okay.
either in their own secure storage facilities or through specialized custodians.
So they're literally buying gold bars and storing them.
Exactly.
Wow.
This gives them direct ownership of the asset
Right.
and provides a tangible sense of security.
Yeah.
But there are other ways to gain exposure to gold as well, such
Right.
as through gold-backed exchange-traded funds, ETFs.
That's right. ETFs offer investors a way to track the price of gold without having to physically own and store it.
Right.
And of course, as we've discussed, gold IRAs provide a tax-advantaged way to hold physical gold
Exactly.
within a retirement account.
And the beauty of these different options is that they allow investors to tailor their gold allocation to their specific needs and preferences. It really comes down to understanding your goals, your risk tolerance, and choosing the approach that aligns best with your overall investment strategy.
That makes a lot of sense. So if someone's listening to this and thinking, okay, gold sounds interesting, maybe I should look into this. What's the first step?
Well, knowledge is power, right?
Yeah.
I always recommend doing your research.
Yeah.
The more you understand about gold, the better equipped you'll be to make informed decisions.
And luckily, there's a wealth of information available both online and offline.
That's right. There are books, articles, websites dedicated to gold investing. And of course, you can always consult with a financial advisor who specializes in precious metals.
Speaking of resources, I want to remind our listeners about that free checklist we mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic tool, especially for American retirees who are considering a gold IRA.
Absolutely. You can find it at goldirablueprint.com/exclusive. It'll walk you through the key things to look for when choosing a gold IRA company so you can be confident you're making the right decision.
It's a great starting point for anyone who's serious about adding gold to their retirement plan.
Yeah.
Now, before we wrap up, I want to touch on one more thing, the global landscape. We've talked about geopolitical uncertainty, but how do current events and global trends specifically impact the gold market?
That's a key question because gold often acts as a barometer of global sentiment.
Okay.
When investors are feeling nervous about the state of the world, they tend to flock to safe haven assets like gold. We've seen this play out recently with rising interest rates and concerns about a potential recession.
So those headlines we see about, trade tensions or political instability or even, climate change, those can all have a ripple effect on the price of gold.
Absolutely. And it's not just about fear and uncertainty.
Right.
Global demand also plays a role.
Okay.
As economies grow, particularly in emerging markets, we tend to see an increase in demand for gold for both investment and industrial purposes.
So it's like a confluence of factors,
Mm-mm.
economics, geopolitics, even cultural trends, all converging to influence the price of gold.
Exactly. And that's what makes it such a fascinating market to follow. It's a reflection of the world we live in, a tangible representation of how people are feeling about the future.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into gold and its potential role in your retirement plan, what's the key takeaway you want our listeners to remember?
I'd say the key takeaway is this. Gold is more than just a shiny metal. It's a strategic asset with a long history of preserving wealth and providing a hedge against uncertainty.
And with the world facing, growing number of geopolitical and economic challenges, gold's appeal as a safe haven asset is only likely to increase.
That's right. And for those seeking to protect their wealth, diversify their portfolios, and create a legacy for future generations, gold deserves serious consideration.
Excellent points. And for those who want to explore this further, don't forget to grab that free checklist at goldirablueprint.com/exclusive.
Yeah.
It's packed with valuable tips for choosing the right gold IRA company, especially for American retirees.
It's a great resource to have as you embark on your gold investment journey.
Well, this has been a fascinating deep dive into the world of gold. I hope our listeners found it informative and insightful. As always, we encourage you to do your own research and consult with a qualified financial advisor before making any investment decisions.
And remember, the best investment is the one that aligns with your individual financial goals and risk tolerance.
Thanks for joining us today, and we'll see you next time on the Gold IRA Blueprint podcast.